Good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of Calfkicksports. Joined by recurring guest Cody Gibson. And what a fight, man! Unbelievable TUF Finale last week. How's everything going after that, man? You recovering okay after that war?
Yeah. I was a little surprised I didn't have more stuff broken. My orbital was not broken, so that was good news.
Yeah,
I broke my nose, so I'm getting that checked out. I've been feels a little weird. Like I need to make sure my pathways are clear for breathing. But other than that, I've been good. My brain was good. No orbital break, so just bruised up and took a couple days. It was limping around, but for the most part, I'm back in the gym today actually. So
wow.
I took a full week off and went on a run this morning and wasn't feeling too great, but I got that first sweat out of the way. So we'll go do some kickboxing here in a bit. So.
Well, look, unfortunately, the fight didn't go your way. But man, that fight was just unbelievable. It was probably like, of all the TUF finales I've seen, that's up there, man. Like as one of the greatest. It actually reminded me of Stephen Bonner, Forrest Griffin vibes, man. Like even the commentary team were mentioning it as well. Is there anything that surprised you from Brad Cantona?
Yeah, just surprised that he was able to just take some of those shots and he was game. He didn't back down. Um, his striking is unorthodox, but he's hard to hit sometimes. Um, I thought if I just kept walking him down, I could stay in the middle of the cage. I didn't want to get pressed up against the cage. That was my biggest concern. Like, don't let this guy back you into the cage and just hold you there.
Yeah.
So I said it's going to be hard for him to take me down from the middle, and I'm just going to walk him down. And obviously, it makes it for a fun fight, but I prefer not to take so many shots myself. So, um, but I mean, obviously, I'm upset that I lost. It was a close fight. Um, I'm not really like in the camp of like being upset with the decision. I feel like I could
Yeah.
have done some things differently to secure the victory, and I let it be close enough to where you can make an argument for him to win the fight for sure. So I'm not really anything. I thought the 30-27 was a little bit
Oh, that's insane.
wild,
Come
but
on. It's ridiculous. Yeah,
yeah.
you
But
you you
other than
you
that, I
definitely.
mean,
Yeah, no, sorry. I was just gonna say you're definitely controlling. I mean, the half of the fight, yeah, I was thinking this is done, man. This is done, and somehow you got a second wind, which is insane. Like I was really surprised you got that second wind, late into the fight as well, after eating those shots, which was insane. I mean, there was one thing I wanted to ask you about as well. So I think Joe Rogan mentioned you actually switched stance here between round one and two. And I wanted to know, was that a strategic plan, or was that you because you hurt your leg? What was the reason for that specifically, Cody? I just wanted to know what that was.
no, I like to switch stance a lot during fights. I
Yeah,
have certain attacks I like to go to from a southpaw stance, and then certain attacks I like to go to from an orthodox stance. So if you watch a lot of my fights, I switch stance pretty frequently. Um, and so that wasn't really anything to do with Brad or anything like that. That was just me doing the kind of I always switch stance, and I like some things from southpaw that if I see him in the fight or I feel like I can land him, I'll switch. And I feel like it helps with the forward pressure when you're constantly giving them different looks um, from different stances, different angles. So that's just pretty common kind of fighting that I like to fight. But yeah, I don't know. I wish it's easy to look back in hindsight, like all these things. I think, oh man, if I would have done this a little differently, maybe I should have mixed in a little wrestling in that third round and got a
yeah,
takedown. Maybe I feel like I was throwing a lot of 1-2s, but I wasn't coming back with threes and 3 and 4 punch combinations, and so I was a little upset with myself that I was just kind of sticking to my basic 1-2s. I mean, I would throw in uppercuts and stuff like that, but there's some things I think I could have done a little differently and maybe got him out of there. But man, yeah, he hurt. It was, if I go back and watch the fight, I thought I won the first round, and
definitely,
then
100%.
the second round, I felt like I was winning most of the round, but then I
Yeah,
got wobbled.
Yeah, yeah.
My legs gave out on me a little bit, and so you could definitely make the argument that he won the round based on that. And then the third round, kind of similar to the second, I feel like I was doing enough and winning for the long duration of the round, and then my eyes started swelling up, and I didn't know if I was coke. I definitely was having vision problems, and so I was kind of retreating at one point in the round, and he did a good job of capitalizing, and the ref didn't stop it for anything he saw, so he did his job, and so yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but there was definitely a silver lining. I was sitting in the hospital after the fight, and we were in the hospital for about 5 hours, waiting on some CT scan results, and slowly but surely, not only was I realizing like, oh, people really like the fight, so that was cool. But then like as the fights went on throughout the night, and there was a lot of decisions and like a couple of finishes that weren't like anything that you're gonna write home about or anything.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe we're gonna get the bonus here. And so when we got that news, we were pretty excited. And then obviously the biggest cherry on top, or the silver lining for me, was when Dana in his press conference afterwards, when he was asked about it, he said his phone's been blowing up. And so I reached out to the fans on Twitter and stuff like that. Like, hey, thanks guys for blowing Dana up about this, because I don't know if I'd be in the UFC if it wasn't for that. So I feel like I'm a fighter for the fans. I'm a blue collar guy, so yeah, it was kind of cool to experience that with everybody.
Oh man, I love seeing that as well. I was watching that and I was like, that's awesome, man. You didn't win the fight, but you're still a winner. You won a bonus, and has the UFC come to you officially now with with a fight contract or anything like that, or what's the situation with that, Cody?
Yeah. So they actually have us signed two contracts going into that finale.
Yeah.
One of those contracts is if you win the fight, and this is what your contract's going to look like, and one is if you lose the fight.
Mhm.
So, and then obviously they don't have to keep you if you lose the fight.
Yeah.
So I mean, you sign that thing, but there's not a guarantee that it's going to be there. So that's the contract I'm on though, and then I did get confirmation from Sean Shelby, my manager, through him, that I'm signed, and so we're already talking about trying to get back in there one more time this year, and
Yeah.
hopefully in the year on a victory, and kind of able to go into 2024 with some momentum.
Yeah, no, I saw that you actually want to fight in the December card. I mean, everyone's saying, I don't believe it quite yet, but everyone's saying Connor and Chandler in December. We'll see about that. But is that the card that you are dead set on competing on?
I mean, I'll fight anywhere. I really prefer fighting in front of a crowd. Um, I like the energy that the crowd brings, and so fighting at the Apex for the duration of the show wasn't my favorite. Just like it feels too much like a sparring match, unless like the craziness of what fight night is. You're walking out, you got thousands and thousands of screaming Bostonians screaming at you, and it's just like, I don't know. There's something about that I love, and so if I could try to insert my name on a pay-per-view, or any card that's going to be, have a live audience, then I'm gonna try to do that.
No, 100%, man. I mean, it's quite back in the day with tough finales, it was usually, I don't know, I think it was on the main card of a TV pay-per-view, not even a pay-per-view, like
Fight night.
like a fight night. Yeah, exactly. And now they just decided to put you on a pay-per-view. Is that something that you had mixed emotions about, or you just like, I love this, man. I love the fact that I'm on pay-per-view.
Pay-per-views. So I got lucky. My first UFC stints, I had four fights, and two of them were on pay-per-views in
Yeah.
Vegas at the MGM and Mandalay Bay. Um, and so I knew the difference, between a fight night and a pay-per-view. What I never really experienced was the Apex. I never fought with no crowd,
Mm.
and so that was the one I was like, I really don't like the fight at the Apex. And I know they do a lot of their shows there now.
Yeah. Why though?
Uh,
I don't understand. This doesn't make any sense to
I,
me.
I think money. I think money. It's easier. It's
Yeah.
everything's there for them, and makes it easy for them to do. Um, but hopefully they're going to start moving more and more away from it, and more to getting to different locations, even if it is on for fight nights or whatever. But to me, I mean, a big part of the whole experience as a fan, as a fighter, is that atmosphere and that environment. And when you don't have that, like I'm not saying you can't still put on good fights, but it loses a little bit of its luster. So I'm gonna try my best to fight on. I mean, beggars can't be choosers, but I'm gonna try my best to fight on live nights where they have, whether it be a fight night or a pay-per-view, but there's a crowd feeding you some energy in there, you know?
Definitely, man. Definitely. It's was it quite deafening in your fight as well? Because obviously it's fight of the night. People are probably getting nuts. Did you feel that, or you just completely in the moment?
No, I could feel the energy. I could feel every time
Wow.
a shot lands, whether you land it or they land it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's like you know they notice because the noises they make and it gets loud in there. And I love that though. I love the energy of it all, and it kind of, you know, I've had several fights where the crowd is giving me a little extra oomph, you know, when I needed it the most. So, um, yeah, if I could fight in front of people, I prefer that for sure.
Speaking of Umph, yeah, your coach is an absolute legend. Like I could hear him on my TV screen, just screaming at you. And by the third, by the third round, it was cracking him up because Cormier was like, "Oh my," Joe Rogan was like, "Oh man, his voice is cooked," and Daniel Cormier is like, "He needs to train his, he needs to train his voice." I just thought that was just too funny, man. Like, I can't remember his name now. Manny, is it Manny something? Wait, hold up. So what's his name again?
Antonio
That's the
Benuelo.
one. Sorry, I don't know what.
Antonio Benuelo.
Yeah, yeah, and
No,
he's
yeah,
been in your corner quite a while for quite a while. I think he was in an ex-MMA event, a few events before that. How integral is he to to your corner, just in terms of pepping you up?
yeah. He's obviously a little ball of energy. He was an old WEC fighter, 125 pounder, and then he had one fight in the UFC against Miguel Torres when
Oh
they came
damn!
over, and then he lost the decision. Then he went to Dream and he upset a couple guys and made the finals of a big Dream tournament. Um, and he was a great fighter. And he was Chuck Liddell's like right hand man for all the years Chuck was kind of in his heyday, and so he's kind of taken
Wow.
over the fight team here at the pit. John still kind of comes into practice a couple times a week, but Antonio does all the cornering and coaching and things like that. And yeah, man, he definitely energizes you and talks about his message is always PMA, positive mental attitude. So that's every day in the gym. It's that same voice, and he's always talking about having a positive mental attitude. And so I like guys who keep things light and fun.
Yeah.
And it's like it doesn't have. It's already serious enough. Like
Oh yeah,
we
man.
get how serious this is. So let's let's have fun while we're doing it and getting better and learning.
Oh, do you have to? You good?
I'm
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was gonna say. So, in terms of, he's obviously he's probably screaming at you guys quite a bit, yeah, or just during fights in general. Does he lose his voice often like that? Because that was
That's not the first time. Yeah, he
that's the
was
best.
the John Dotson fight. He
Oh my god,
same
I remember that. Oh my
same
god,
thing. And
dude.
and the commentating team at that night on that fight was the
Yeah.
same way. They're like, Antonio's going crazy over here.
Oh man, that was awesome. Do you have a call out specifically going, in your next fight, or is there anyone in particular that you'd like to fight next, or just anyone who comes to you?
I mean, I don't feel like I'm in a real position to be calling people out.
Yeah.
I want to I want to go back. I want to get a win. There's a couple guys that fought this last week in Australia at my weight class. So either of those guys that won, seems like timetable wise about where they'd want to fight too. So I was kind of watching those fights with vested interest. Um, but I mean, I want to get, I want to, I'm the same as everybody else, right? Like I just want to see how high I can climb, and obviously I want to start with getting a number by my name. So
Yeah.
whatever is going to get me closer to that. Um, Hopefully pick up some more performance bonuses instead of fight night bonuses, but who knows? And yeah, I'd like to, I would hope that by next year at some point I'm fighting to put a number next to my name,
Yeah.
and just see how far we can go before the wheels fall off, so to speak.
Is the title the goal? Because I spoke to your teammate. We spoke to your teammate Jason Knight as well, and he mentioned himself that I don't care about a title. I just want to have exciting fights, make a bunch of money, and then ride off into the sunset. Is that the plan, or is the belt firmly within your goals?
I mean, I think everybody, I still have aspirations. Like, I still think I could fight with those guys and do well. Um, I don't know if I've got a lot of work to do to get to that. And at my
Yeah,
age, like, how realistic is it? I don't know, but like I said, I want to see how high I can climb. I got to get a number next to my name before I could even start thinking about title contention.
yeah.
So I'm not going to try to jump the gun and say I'm in the next best thing. I'm 35 years old, almost 36. So I'm hoping I got a couple good years left in me and can put on some exciting fights, win some bonuses. That's where I'm going to make my money. Um, and so every time out, I'm looking to get a bonus, and I'm looking to obviously I got to get some wins too. So that's the goal next time out is to get a win and get another bonus and um, see where this all. I mean, this sport's crazy. If you'd have
There's
asked me, a year ago, if I thought I was going to be on the Ultimate Fighter and fighting in UFC 292 in Boston, I would have said you were crazy. So you never know in this sport. But
yeah.
step one is to definitely start building some traction, putting some guys away, eventually get a number next to my name, and then I could reevaluate what my goals are. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm gonna have my focus is right now, at least.
Do you feel almost do you feel almost dizzy, yeah, from just everything that's happened a lot? Because you've had tough, you've had to balance fatherhood, you're going back to teaching. Is it almost kind of made your head spin a little bit? Like so it can be a bit overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm used to doing this. I'm used to the balancing act of being a full time teacher and being a full time fighter and being a full time dad and having long days and busy days. And luckily, I got a wife who's super supportive and lets me do all this crazy stuff. And so it's really just back to the same grind that I'm always on. I got up and ran this morning before work, and now I'm gonna go kickbox for a little while and just back to normal. It's not as exciting I think as some of the fans think it might be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what are the kids like in school, or your students like? Are they reacted to it at all? They like, oh my god, Mr. Gibson, what a fight, or is it just like nothing? Or like, yeah, tell me what the reaction is from school.
Definitely more notice. Like kids are taking more notice. Like they always knew I was a fighter, but a lot of them didn't really wouldn't see my fights, or maybe they'd watch one on YouTube or something and be like, "We watched one of your fights." But it's definitely, I think the kids are realizing a little bit more. Like, oh, he's like a legitimate fighter. So that's been cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the kids made a really cool video for me.
Oh wow, that's so cool. Tell me about that.
Before yeah, before I left, or actually after I left, a couple days after I was already in Boston, my coworker put it together, but all the kids made signs for me, and there's this cool video they sent me, so that was really cool to get. And I got a really supportive administration too. I mean, I don't know if every principal in the country would be super excited about their one of their teachers fighting people on the weekends. So the
Going
fact
through
that my
walls
principal,
casually on a Saturday evening. you know?
yeah, so the fact that he's super supportive and we make it work the best we can. He thinks it's beneficial to the school and the kids seeing their teacher pursue a passion. I think if more teachers, walk the walk instead of just talk the talk. Pursue your passions, and I think kids learn that and follow suit. That's a good thing. So that's the way I try to approach it with the kids. Is like, hey, this is the weird thing I'm into. Whatever weird thing you're into, like get into that and dive head in the same way I dive head into this. And you never know what the world's gonna bring you. So that's kind of the approach I take with them. But it's been cool to have the support of the school and the community. I moved here about 3 years ago, so I already posted my first UFC run. So the fact that the local community is starting to take notice now and show a lot of support has been nice too, because I was it's been nice, but at the same time, it was nice to go unnoticed. And now all of a sudden people are recognizing me more, like talking to me more. And so it's a little bit like, oh, that's good. It's good.
Yeah. You ever had any kids going, hey, Mr. Gibson, man, I want to be a fighter. How do I go about that?
Oh yeah. Plenty. I
Oh
try to
yeah?
recruit them out to the wrestling team. It's my
Yeah.
it's my number one recruiting tool for wrestling. So start there.
Nice, man. Nice. Go one final question for you, just before you go, because I know you're a busy man, Cody. But did you manage to, and we could edit this part out if not, but did you manage to see the Aljamain Sterling and Sean O'Malley fight by any chance? Or, what
Yeah,
did you make of that title fight? Because obviously it's your division. What's your overall thoughts on that?
I felt bad for Aljamain. He's a friend of mine, and uh, I spent a lot of time with him actually in Boston that whole week.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
he was Well, he was staying at I was surprised. Usually, I'm thinking a champion's going to get some like special treatment. He's going to be at some place by himself, secluded. But no, he was in the meat grinder with the rest of us at the hotel and in the workout facility and cut weight the same way we all cut weight, the same place we all cut weight. So, I like Aljamain a lot. I think he's a good dude, and that's the nature of the game, though. Everybody knew his goal was to get the fight to the ground, and
Yeah.
if he did, he had a pretty good chance to get a submission. And he overextended a little bit. O'Malley's a sniper, and he went hunting and he found that right hand, and it is what it is. Hopefully he gets a rematch. If not him, at least Marab. I think this whole Cheeto Vera thing's kind of
Nah, man,
ridiculous.
that's not.
I
Yeah.
think that's what's gonna happen if I had to guess, but
Oh man,
I
it's
just
definitely
don't.
going to be Cheeto. It's going to be Cheeto because like I like Sean O'Malley, but I know the UFC are looking at the big numbers right now, and just kind of just all due respect to Aljamain, I want him to take a little bit of a break before going into a title fight again. I think he's been in back-to-back title fights, and I wouldn't want to see him go back in there straight away. Personally, I want him to get an immediate title shot, but not straight away. Surely, no.
Yeah, and honestly, Marab's been waiting there
Yeah,
forever. It seems like, and that's the number one deserving contender.
definitely.
Um, but you know how that's not always the way it works in this sport, especially in the UFC. So yeah, we'll see if it's Cheeto Vera, but eventually he's gonna have to fight Marab. He's gonna have a rematch with Aljo if he stays at 35s. If those guys continue to have success or just sit on the sideline, I don't know, but you can't just I don't know. I guess if you're a big enough star, you could handpick your opponents, but people are gonna, if you want to solidify your legacy, you're gonna have to beat all kinds of styles. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
There was actually one comment I forgot to ask. Sorry, there was one comment that Aljamain said. Yeah, he said, the commentary team mentioned, yeah, this guy is. You're talking about you. This guy is absolutely humongous at 135. He's the same size, if not bigger. Like I think Aljamain briefly mentioned that. Do you have any? Are you thinking maybe to go up in weight at some point, or is 135 still the division that you want to compete at?
I prefer being the bigger guy.
Yeah.
I've never missed the weight. So, and I just got turned on to water loading. I never water loaded until I got on the Tough House, and all the guys, all 16
Damn.
guys, I was the only one who didn't water load. And they all thought I was crazy. And I was like, yeah, I just been cutting weight the same way since I was a freshman in high school wrestling. And, and man, it changed a lot. I had the easiest weight cut. My last two cuts on the semifinals of that show, and then the cut in Boston. I made weight the night before weigh-ins in Boston. I
Oh
didn't even
wow.
mean to. Didn't even mean to. I went to do a water load, like a water cut, and I was 6 over when I started. And I thought, okay, well maybe I'll lose like 3 tonight, and I'll wake up in the morning and lose the other 3. And I shed 6 pounds in about an hour. So I was on weight. I got to drink some water and eat a protein bar the night before weigh-ins. It was beautiful.
Awesome, man. It's only gonna elevate you even more, man. But yeah, look, Cody, I really appreciate your time. Always a pleasure to have you, and I also really appreciate the fact that you kept the complete poker face, man, in the in the last interview. It must have been difficult when you knew the result of
Uh,
everything as well. But hey, look, Cody, man, I'm gonna give you the final word, man. Where can the folks find you? And if you need to shout anyone, if you need to shout anyone out, go for it, man. It's your spotlight.
Oh man, if you want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, it's the Renegade 559. Yeah, man, I'm just super pumped. I mean, I've been fighting for 15, almost 16 years this year, and you know, getting having so many fans reach out about how your story inspired them or your fight inspired them, or they take notice and appreciate your heart in there. It's been really just kind of cool experience because I haven't really You know, the last time I was in the UFC, I feel like social media was like in its infancy, and so like it wasn't the same thing as it is today. So it's different coming through this second time around and having all these fan interactions. Um, Sometimes a little bit overwhelming, but I also just feel like really grateful that people take notice and getting a little love at this later stage of my career. So thank you to the fans. I guess it's been the coolest part for me, and hearing cool stories about people and the struggles they go through. And man, if I could inspire other people in any way, shape, or form, like I think that's more important than just about anything else we do in this sport. So pretty cool.
Absolutely, Cody. But look, we appreciate you. We're looking forward to seeing the next few fights in the UFC, and again, we're gonna have you on again, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Ash. Good talking to you, man. Take care.